operates the world. Over my dead body, over my dead body, over my dead body, over mine. They have all the money, we have the will, and I would rather be a match than a paper dollar bill. Yes, I would any day. Yes, I would. They have the guns, all we are is flesh and blood, but we will multiply our numbers.
Thank you, Lorenz. That was awesome. We're now going to invite Billy Lewis to speak. Are you ready? Oh, I didn't need it for Patty. Do you want me to ask for Tisha number? Yeah. Oh, okay, so Billy Lewis? Come on. So, Billy is an Indigenous elder. He has lots of really inspiring things to tell us. Do you want this mic? No, don't give him a mic. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get that. I won't be able to see it anyway.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Well, I'm Billy Lewis, as she said. I know in the last few days I've been having a heck of a time, because every time I would make some notes like I just did, along would come something else and would completely change whatever the heck I'd written. And to keep up with those clowns in Ottawa is a chore in itself. The moment that you think you've got them, they move the goalpost. And that can be confusing, but if you look at it in the right way, or you go down deep and look at what they're about, then all of a sudden it comes into focus. And if we have our focus as Indigenous grassroots people, and we do what we need to do, then we can change not only ourselves, as was just mentioned, but change the government and the world, because that's where the answer comes from. It doesn't come from on high, it comes from us. So if it's high in spirit, not in government. And so when I was looking at all the things that I wanted to share here today, I realized that we can learn a lot from history. We can learn a lot from what we've done. In fact, I remember my first response to Idle No More. I said, idle? 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 Who are they calling idle? I've been at this 40 years. What the hell are they talking about? But then when I realized it was 4 sisters in Saskatoon speaking to their young constituency, the whatever society, that they were speaking to a constituency that they wanted to get up off their butts. And so I'm not the last speaker here. Patty still has to come up. But what I want to address is not just that history, which I would suggest that everyone go home, dig into the, well, for one, go to the Idle No More site, and you'll see there, I think it was there, or God knows, I'm not too computer savvy. I keep getting all this stuff and don't remember where I got it from. But there was a thing with Russ Daibo wrote a whole big, long thing, because he's a policy person. He used to be with the Brotherhood, and then later with the AFN as a policy person. And he gave the whole history from Chrétien's white paper right up to today, and the relationship between Indigenous people and the Crown. And there's so much to learn there. And as well, and I read something else I saw a book out there by Gord Hill. In fact, I just picked it up. And I worked with him out west when I worked in the downtown east side in Vancouver. And And he speaks about that history as well, and speaks about what should be done about it, and speaks about it from the point of view mostly of the leaders, and quite frankly, the misleaders. I think what was missed a bit here is we're talking about colonialism and the effects of that. But one of the effects is there's a name for it, and it's called neocolonialism. And that's where our own people are acting and organizing in a manner that reflects the colonial powers' ways of doing things. Like we have ways of doing things, not in a hierarchical, pyramidal way, but in a circle. We got half of a circle here today. But anyway, where we do things in a circle where there's that equality. And that's a different way of organizing. It's a different way of seeing than the way that we have imposed upon us. So when we go away today, I would ask, like I understand there's a couple of meetings coming up in the next little while where there'll be further discussion, because it would have been preferable to share some of this stuff today and then all of us sit around and discuss it, but we can't in a crowd this size. But go home and learn the things that were brought up tonight. Keep an eye, watch, because believe me, in the next 2 or 3 days you'll have many opportunities to see how colonialism and neocolonialism works, because you'll see it right there in Ottawa. Because I'll tell you quite frankly, I don't expect anything except another bunch of promises and another bunch of put-offs to some future date that's going to come out of what's going to happen in the next few days in Ottawa. That's my expectation. And so it's very important that not just the old farts have been in this for a number of years, but everybody has to get out there and learn the things that we need to learn. In order to learn, as was said, and I remember that one from a long time ago, you have to unlearn. You know, that's an old Sufi teaching, by the way. To unlearn is more important than learning. And so if we can do that together, then, quite frankly, there's more of us than there are them. And I'm struck by the irony. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. I wrote it in my book a couple of days ago. But take a look at what these two bills are called. C-38, C-45, those are guns that are being held at our head. And there's nothing they can do about those guns if all of the idle no more people and all of us surround them. You can't, with a 6-gun, you can't shoot everybody. I don't want to sound like I'm giving the answer, but I think I am. What it's going to take is it's going to take all of us taking a stand. I was just at ceremonies up in St. Mary's here during the summer, and what came out of those ceremonies, it was to bring the Wabanaki Confederacy, all the peoples of the Eastern Doorway, together. And believe it or not, on the last day of those ceremonies, they invited all the allies in. And there were just as many allies showed up as our participants that took part during that whole time. And there was a lot of discussion and a little fumbling and some, well, we better pass a motion and do this and do that. Well, that quickly got squashed. And so what happened is that as a result of that confusion for a while, people kind of summarized and came to something that made so much sense that I think it's true to this day. And what came of it was the necessity. They said, like there was in the old days, in the prairies especially, they used to stick a stake or a spear or something in the ground, tie it to their leg, and stand there with their arms crossed and say, "Here we stand." And that's what we have to do. We have to take that stake, drive it right through colonialism, neocolonialism, or what have you, and say, here we stand, no more. We're not taking any more, and we're not going to appeal to you with a cup in our hand, or I don't want to knock Chief Spence, but to me, you don't appeal to someone that doesn't have a conscience. You stand where you are and say who you are, then they have to respond.
next we're going to do, thank you, Billy. Thank you.
They have the guns, all we are is flesh and blood, but we will multiply our numbers and drown them in our flood. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. They say they will incorporate the world.